my friends, and welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from Dadex, and you find us today at the Eve Gate, the place where it all started for New Eden. About 5,500 years from now, a wormhole pops open on our side. Humanity can venture through, and this is where they arrive into this system here. All that's here now are some research stations, one gate in from the rest of New Eden, and that's it. The hole closed after about 1,500 years, and the humans on this side were trapped. And humans being humans, they split into 5 factions: the Galante, the Caldari, the Amar, the Minmatar and the Jove, and started competing and bashing each other up. And here we are now. There's a couple of research stations here from a couple of factions. This is the Eve that the Sisters of Eve revere. This is what they worship. They're not the Sisters of Eve the game, they're Sisters of Eve the Gate. And it is basically the gateway to God as far as they are concerned. That is their belief, their core belief. Also the basis of the Amar religion, held as a holy place for them. And obviously it is within the Amar Empire that we are. There's the one pipe way in and out of here now. An excellent place to mess around and get some screenshots for sure. But before I get on with doing some hacking in here, I've got the place to myself and there are a few signatures to be explored. There's some very good and exciting news about an event I want to share with you right now. And that event is the 8th annual Frigate Free-for-All, run by Stay Frosty and a band apart. This is totally a player set up and run event, and the best thing about this is that for a day, in 5 weekends time, on Saturday the 19th of March in Ualeta, we'll show you where that is on the map soon, there are up to 10,000 free frigates to be given out for you to fly, for you to fight in, and for you to have some fun in. In fact, I already know there are way more than 10,000 Tech 1 frigates that have been donated to the event to be given out. There will be prizes, there will be skins, there will be cap kills available, and there is a plan for Dexter and I to be dropping in, hint hint. I'm also going to be sending them some prizes from the stash. I've been in touch with Rick Jarvix, who's the artist who produced this fabulous artwork here. He does lots of brilliant EVE art. I love his style. Check that out. I've talked about it before. I'll put a link to this event down below, but that's what you really need to know. It's on Saturday the 19th of March in Ualeta. And let's just check out where Ualeta is. Have you ever done this? Did you know you could do this? I'm going to copy Ualeta from that web page. I'm going to paste it in there. I'm going to search. Set my destination. It's 8 jumps from me here in Slays. And the entry system is Juf Vite. Very nice name, very French. Anyway, there we are. So, get over this way. It's in the Burge Bender region. So make a date. I'm going to try to get something arranged, probably based here in Slays, which isn't too far away from there, where I'm going to make some Tech 1 frigates available. Pop in the Discord. There'll be a link down below. And yeah, if I can get it set up so you can get a little bit of a warm-up. I'm also going to make some videos of how to get the best out of a T1 frigate, not just for PvP, but also they're really fun to fly in PvE. And I think they're overlooked once we can get into bigger ships. So enough of that for now. Let's get back to the Eve Gate and the hacking. And indeed, back to the Heron at the Eve Gate. So let's see, we've got 7 cosmic signatures to scan down, so we'll get cracking with that. I'm going to speed this footage up a little bit. What I'm going to do to get going is launch my probes, and today I am using just core scanner probes, not Sisters probes. I have got Sisters probes on board, but today I just wanted to prove the point that when it comes to getting going in low sec, you can just use regular probes. It may get a little bit fiddly sometimes, but in my experience, the only things you won't be able to scan are things that as an alpha you won't really be able to deal with. Certainly not at the moment, and certainly not in a Heron. They're basically high-end combat site. And as you can see, I've just started on a 4 AU radius at the beginning there, dumped it in the middle of all of the signatures. This is quite a small system, and I've got a hit on every signature, so that's good. So, I'm just going to use standard probes. That means the fit we're actually using right now comes in at about 1.5 million ISK. So let's see how much we make in relation to a 1.5 million, just hacking through whatever sites we find here at the Eve Gate. Now, I've found no relic sites around this region at all. I don't know if I'm missing them. I'll find out as I start hacking my way back. But this ship is actually only rigged really for relic sites. Now, as you can see, as soon as I've found a site, I've scanned down a data site, I've walked straight to it, and I'm going to start hacking and scanning at the same time. This is partly because I have got local to myself. I'm keeping an eye on local. There are no security issues here at all. These sites are all safe as long as there's no one here to join you on it. To save time, I recommend, once you get the hang of it, prioritise the hacking obviously, but you can scan to your heart's content as you're hacking through the site, certainly as you're moving from box to box. I just wanted to point out the first box we hacked there was 1.4 mil. We've got 6 mil in the cargo hold. I did hack 2 sites before I came back to make this video, and I've got the sisters probes in there, which are most of the value. So whatever we've got in there at the end of this video, when we've hacked anything we find in this system, we started off with 4.6 mil. Anyway, back to the situation at hand. Anyone else comes in local, just close down the scanning window, get on with the hack, and do your little security movements, whatever that might be, whether you leave the site or just get on with it and then go back to your safe. And of course, if anyone joins you in local, get that D-scan open and keep an eye on what is happening the best you can. I'll link up above and down in the description to a video about how to use your D-scan and how people will use the D-scan to hunt you. I thoroughly recommend you get your head round the D-scan before you come into low sec. Just practice out in high sec, stalk random miners, you never have to pull the trigger. Just get used to figuring out where you are and where other people are in relation to you as best you can using that D-scan, and you will be so much safer in any part of your game, whether you're not getting ganked while you're mining or running a mission, or out here exploring low sec, null sec, or indeed the wormholes. And while we're on the subject of wormholes, my intention with this alt is to generally keep him in K-space. There will no doubt be times when there's just nothing worth doing in local. If we find a wormhole, we'll pop in there and have a little day trip. But on the subject of alphas in wormholes, we're going to turn back to our Galante alt, Red Willow Charante, who a long time ago was left at the end of season 1 of Alpha Heron's van life, in which she simply goes wormhole to wormhole and at the end of a session just logs out in the wormhole that they're in. And the goal is to fill that Heron up. Now that Heron is currently half full. At the time it was about 400 millions worth of loot. And I went back to have a look to get ready to maybe do season 2. And plenty has changed in the game, so it's going to be worthwhile getting back in there, I think. But I realised I'd left the probes out last time I'd logged on. I have no probes. The reason I was actually speaking to Katia Say was about getting rescued by Signal Cartel. So sometime in the very near future I will be dialing 911, although of course from the UK I'm going to actually need to be dialing 999, calling in Signal Cartel to help me get my Alpha in the wormhole, re-equipped with some probes so she can carry on. So that will be coming up soon. So that's the plan for wormholes, and every Alpha Heron is the same. You hit maximum Alpha hacking skills, exploration skills I should say, very early on. So whichever Alpha is in a Heron, they're all fitted the same, they've all got the same skills, so it's all very, very transferable. But low sec is really where you want to dip your toe in, learn how to D-scan, learn how to stay safe. If it all goes wrong, as long as you remember to stash your loot every now and again, you're only looking at the loss of maybe a 1.5 mil Heron. Even if you go up to the sisters probes, and why not once you can afford it of course. I'm never going to tell you to stay with the basic stuff if you can afford some of the better stuff. What I will recommend is that you don't buy stuff you don't need, such as sisters core scanner probe launchers, or I've seen people stacking up modules and rigs to boost their core scanner strength, which you've got enough of with your skills and one rig and one module as per this fit to hack down anything you're going to find. We have a new record set in EVE Online. Now, many of you may know, I hope you know, and if you're not, you'll know now, that Katia Say was the capsuleer who, a couple of years ago, in fact 3 years ago, how time flies, set the record of having been into every system in New Eden, all 7,805 of them, low sec, high sec, null sec, wormholes, all of them, without losing a ship. in the entire time. That was an amazing achievement. In a sense, I think it was amazing just for them having had the imagination to try to do it. They did it over a very long period of time. As they did it, there was no competition. Absolutely amazing. So amazing that there is in fact a monument in the game to Katia Say for that achievement, and well deserved it is too. In fact, I was talking to them just around Christmas time before things got a bit crazy here, and there was mention of a bit of an interview, and I would like to know a lot more about that epic voyage to every system in New Eden. So if you're interested in that, let me know down below. I certainly am. So I will be taking Katia Say's offer up, hopefully, if they are still free to do so. Anyway, another capsule here. Enrique Anoles has now set a world record for the fastest time to visit all 7,805 systems, and it's 224 days, less than a year. Now, if I remember rightly, Katia took a very long time. In fact, yeah, there you go, almost 9 years, 8.5 years. But as I say, there was no competition. No one had even thought of doing it, as far as I know. It wouldn't have crossed my mind. But now we have the first speed run. 224 days, so the gauntlet is down, really, for anyone else. They have a clear target to beat now, thanks to Enrique. So well done to him. That must have been hectic. I worked out that's about 35 systems a day, average. So well done him and everyone that helped him. And obviously you would have needed assistance to do something like that, and again did not lose a ship in the entire journey. So there you go, a new record. If you want to give it a go, 7,805 systems, you've got to do it in 223 days. Good luck. The bar is now set, the gauntlet is down. Back to the hacking, and I recently showed you this, but we're going to run through it again. I've got a signature here I cannot get down to 100%, so I'm going to hold down the control key, spin my mouse wheel, and that brings all of the probes into a tighter formation. Now you can bring that in too tight, so you may need to go back out a little bit, but now I've brought it in. Let's see if we can get a higher result. We got to about 84% before, which is when I get to about 84%, 83%, I know I will be able to get to 100. It's never failed. So we're at 97% now. I could adjust the placement of the probes. That's one way of trying to get it a little bit higher. Of course, remember, you can just drag that window off. I keep forgetting to mention this. Some people, once they've scanned all the signatures down, like to keep this window open on screen. I prefer myself to close these windows and just press L, and your bookmarks in the system will come up. So we're going to scan again, change the range a little bit. Let's see what we get this time. So now we're at 98%, we're still not quite there. So let's zoom right in, and there you go, there's the problem. When you're working with the probes compressed right in like that, you need to really position this center point accurately, and I hadn't. And I'd always recommend you place your probes properly rather than having to change around with your probe position. So just that little bit of movement there to center the probes right on the signature will. Ta-da, there you go, there it is. So even with the basic core scanner probes, if you get to 83, 84%, bring in the range, hold control, use your mouse wheel, make sure your probes are right on that signature, and you will get to 100%. Obviously, the downside if you're using the probes and having to use that technique every now and again is it takes more time, and if you're in a busy place, I get it, that's not really something you might want to be hanging around to do. Although, to be honest, it's only an extra cycle or two on the probe scanner. So if you're in a safe place, if you're at your safe point in a system, keeping an eye on your D-scan to check you're not getting probed down, why not make the effort, make sure you get it? And of course, as I said, as soon as you've got the extra risk, just upgrade to the sisters probes, and then you'll never have to do that again. Maybe in a wormhole, and then you'll be getting really good loot. Now, as you can see here, my cargo scanner tells me this box that I haven't even hacked yet is empty. You will get that result if you rescan a box you've already hacked as well, of course, so do double check. I do that sometimes. And that's the whole point of the cargo scanner. Here I'm in local by myself, and also because I'm at the Eve gate, I'm not going to leave any sites hanging with like one crappy box left in it. I'll let them all respawn for the next person that comes out here on their little pilgrimage to the Eve gate. Now normally, if I was local to where I am, then I'd probably make the effort to collapse all the sites regardless of whether there was junk. However, if you're in busy places, if you're in hazardous places, then I strongly suggest that you consider having a cargo scanner prioritizing the best loot boxes on a site, and then going down to the poorer ones if you feel relaxed and you've got the time. It's entirely up to you. Now, I have had people say, oh, I don't want to know what's in there, so if I mess up a hack, I don't want to know what I've lost, which is absolutely fair enough. I don't mind it. I actually quite like the extra pressure. I very rarely miss a double hack, even with these alphas, I promise you, even in the wormholes. Some people also say, oh, well, that's going to have you going back and forth across a site. That's not very efficient. You want to go along the boxes in order and save some time. However, consider this. If somebody does come up cloaked and join you on a site, nothing is going to mess with their head more than you burning your micro warp drive to a random box that they can't even predict. What they're likely to do is either try to get straight to you, because remember, if they're cloaked, they can't burn a prop mob. They've got to come towards you quite slowly. So if they find you on a site, they warp up cloaked, they're either going to try and get to where you are, or they're going to try and get to where they think you're going to be heading. So they may look at the site and go, well, those boxes are kind of in order. I reckon he's going to go to that one next. So who knows, you turning around and burning off in the other direction might be the last thing he expects, and there's nothing like messing with a hunter's head. And believe you me, hunting is hard work. It takes a long time to get a kill sometimes. And it's just down to making it as difficult for them as possible. Just little random movements like that could make all the difference. I am planning to do a much more blow-by-blow exploration and hacking and scanning video. It's a long time since I did what is in effect a tutorial that I made a couple of years ago now, I should think. Yeah, and a few things have changed in game, so I will be remaking a tutorial. On the skills front, the whole time I wasn't playing it because I was away, I didn't even do the skill training. I wanted it kind of frozen where it was. It's easy for an alpha to get so far advanced that it kind of leaves the new bros below. But basically, everything is trained up to level 3 that's relevant. And I've trained to be able to fly 5 drones, so that when we get back to home, we can go to the shops, get a Dragoon and start running some sites and maybe running some belts in a Dragoon with our little herd of drones. Anyway, I think we've got to an appropriate point in the video to talk about the skin giveaway. And here it is, the amazingly handsome Vargur Scopes Indication skin. This is available for a comment down below. Have you tried low-sec exploration? Would you like to hear more from me about Eve lore? Basically, as I learn it, or relearn it, or some mixture of the two. On screen now, we have the names of the winners from the last giveaway. They've already had their Vargur skin code sent to them, and they've all said thank you. And you're very, very welcome. So, yeah, comments down below. Remember to include your in-game name. It can relate to low-sec exploration and your experience, or questions regarding it. Are you going to be the next challenger for the speed run to visit all systems? What do you think of that achievement? 35 systems a day sounds a lot to me. That's a lot of time put into the game, I should think. Would you be able to even attempt such a thing? Let me know down below. Anyway, good luck. Remember to include the in-game name. I'm just setting my route back to my little base in low-sec. It's 13 jumps, basically straight through the pipe of kind of 2 gate systems, I should say. A couple of side turnings on the way, they're dead ends. I'll have a look in those too. So the next video I will report on how much I made hacking through those 13 systems. But here today we've done 4 data sites and we started off with about 4.5 million in the hold. And we've spent about 35 minutes of gameplay here and we've hacked 4 data sites. So has the loot fairy been good to us or not today? I always find relic sites in general are better money, but as I said, I've found none here. So now we're up to about 12.5 million there. So that's 8 million made in just over half an hour. Plus we've got this blueprint copy here. That's worth maybe another 500,000 if we get lucky. That's a faction analyzer that will actually, as one module, will actually hack relic and data boxes equally well. So that's a good one. Either, I think, for ships that aren't particularly bonused for exploration later on in the game, or on your Astero, or perhaps your Imicus, etc. But I'm certainly not ever recommending that you put a faction module on an alpha exploration ship until you've really got it down and that you actually know how that's going to make a difference to your gameplay. And bear in mind, of course, we made that 8 million ISK in a 1.5 million ISK fit, so we've made enough money in this one system on 4 data sites for 5 spare starter herons. 2 if you want to go with the sisters probes. Now that's my kind of gameplay. Especially early on, you want that buffer. You want to know if you lose a ship, it doesn't matter. You go and get in another one. Carry on. Just don't do exactly the same thing again, because that's what they call madness. Anyway, my friends, we're going to have to leave it there for now, I'm afraid. Please leave me a like down below if you liked it. I need some indication of what content you prefer, what's interesting, what isn't. It also helps the algorithm, so more people get to see that the videos even exist, which is all I really want, is for people to see them and to find them helpful with their game. That sun's very nice. I've got some brilliant screenshots around here. Anyway, don't forget, comments with your in-game name if you want to be entered into the skin draw. Anything relevant, any ideas, any suggestions, leave them down below. I'm happy to learn from you guys, you know that. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch. Click the notification bell to know when the next video is out. I am aiming within the next 2 or 3 weeks to have a regular thing of a weekend video and a midweek video. That is my intention, that is my goal. We shall achieve it, I'm sure. But for now, my friends, take care of yourselves and each other. Fly brave and goodbye.